Welcome to the Eastgate Podcast. This is
Let's Talk About It
with Lawana, Schrieffer, and Nate Prepelka. We dive into tough questions, real-life challenges, and what it means to walk with Christ. In this episode, we talk about practical ways to live out Christianity.
He likes the conversation we usually have before we actually do the podcast. So now he started where we are still have the microphones and we're just talking, because those were the best conversations. It's like being too prepared was like scary.
I like a more natural conversation.
Yeah.
I like the conversations when we were talking about what we're going to talk about more than the conversations we had. So
I did send you. Did you see? I sent you a verse about
from
what
Galatians.
Did you think about it? Did you think it fit?
Yeah, no, I liked it.
Okay.
I had another one from Galatians.
Okay. Can you explain to us what you mean by practical, so we can all be on the same stage?
Okay, so I'm a very practical person. I like to cause and effect or whatever. I like to, I guess, see the work that I've done, and I don't know.
Well, are you thinking what it looks like when it shows up in reality versus the inner work?
Yes, yeah, right. So practical ways to live out your life as a Christian. What does that look like on the day-to-day?
Yeah.
Essentially.
Some habits, patterns.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. What verse did you have?
So when you talked about this topic, I was thinking about it, and I was thinking whatever we do practically isn't a list of rules. I wanted us to make sure that we weren't saying we're going to give you 10 things that you should be doing as a Christian, like a checklist, okay, these are the things, but basically that it comes from your identity in Christ. These are things that blossom from your relationship with Christ, not something that you're trying to do to earn something, right? So the verse that I sent was from Ephesians, and it's Galatians 2:20, and it was. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I now live in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. And so I was like, okay, if we are grafted in, if we are adopted in, then the way we live that out is being produced through our relationship with Christ, not from our own efforts only. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not like a checklist, or not these are the things good Christians do.
Right. Yeah, that kind of goes along with what I wanted to talk about. I was thinking about how, in the Old Testament, they had all these rules that they lived by, and then Jesus came to fulfill that law that they followed. And it's not all these rules that we have to follow. And I don't like that. So,
you want rules?
Yeah. I want to know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. But yeah. So I'll read some of the verses I have. James 1:27, pure, and this was one of my favorite verses. Pure and genuine religion in the sight of God the Father means caring for orphans and widows in their distress and refusing to let the world corrupt you. So caring for people without safety nets, or people who are in unfortunate situations, orphans and widows are people who don't really have anybody to look out for them.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good practical example.
Right. So how can we do that? Sometimes we have these grand ideas. That means we have to be like Mother Teresa and go serve a whole different nation and, live out a whole different life. But it doesn't necessarily mean we have to go somewhere to do it, right? The more practical way that most people are going to be able to do that is in their own communities, right? So where is that need in your community?
Right.
Is one of the things you would be asking yourself.
Right, yeah.
And then signing up to do something for it, right?
I think we have a lot of homeless people in our community. Yeah. So caring for them and, getting them food or
veterans,
water. We have a lot of veterans too. Absolutely. So that's just an example for our community.
Yeah.
Here. Yep. John 13:34 through 35. So now I'm giving you a new commandment. This is Jesus speaking. I'm giving you a new commandment. Love each other. Just as I have loved you, you should love each other. Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples. So, number one, this is a commandment for Jesus that we have to love each other.
Why, Jesus? Why?
Yeah. And then he says, and I like this part, just as I have loved you, you should love each other. And Jesus died for us.
And we can't let the person come cut in front of us in traffic, right?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I think he's not saying, die for each other, but like love each other in a way where like, you're willing to give up everything to love each other. And that's hard for us to do.
It's hard to give up the TV remote. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Give up everything, It's
Yeah.
like, but I think, dying could be physical, but in this case, it's probably dying to your ego, dying to yourself, dying to your own hierarchy of needs, and being able to put somebody else in front of that, even people that you not necessarily love or like or agree with.
Right.
And that is, I always laugh about it because I'm like, Jesus comes on the scene and he's like, much to Nate's dismay, says, you don't have to worry about all those rules in the Old Testament, like all the 500 rules. You don't have to keep those. I just need you to love God and love your neighbor. I'm like, what? That's the hardest. Those are the hardest two things that you could ever say. Yeah. But yeah, love is what differentiates us. It supposedly is what makes us stand out. And I think it's not making us stand out because for us, but so people could ask us, what is it about you that makes you choose to love these people? And then we can tell them it's Jesus. But it's so hard to, it's so hard to be it's so hard.
Yeah, it is. Okay, Ephesians 4:1-4. This is, I think, Paul writing. Therefore, I, a prisoner for serving the Lord, beg you to lead a life worthy of your calling, for you have been called by God. Always be humble and gentle. Be patient with each other, making allowance for each other's faults because of your love. Make every effort to keep yourself united in the Spirit, binding yourself together with peace, for there is one body and one Spirit, just as you have been called to one glorious hope for the future. So there we have be humble, gentle, patient, loving, and peaceful.
Oh my gosh. When you say it like that.
Yeah.
Sounds so easy. So easy.
And it reminded me of the fruits of the Spirit,
Yeah.
which is Galatians 5:22-23. The Holy Spirit produces this kind of fruit in our lives: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control.
That's all.
Yeah. So I think,
Yeah.
if we work towards those things, the fruits of the Spirit, and the Holy Spirit can produce more of them in our lives. And I absolutely love like the fruit that they're called fruit, and the imagery that brings with like growing. So I think about like when we accept Jesus into our heart, that's like a seed that gets planted in us.
Yeah.
And if we don't water it, then it's not gonna grow.
Yeah.
But if we tend to it, water it and fertilize it and everything, then these fruits will come from that. So in seeking Christ through the fruits of the Spirit, if we're working towards those, then it will produce more of those fruits. Yeah. So
what I noticed is that the fruits of the Spirit are relational. Like you don't need all that just for yourself. Those things that I can't remember. Nate can sing a song about them, but I don't know the song. Sing the song, Nate.
Do you know it, Tyler?
I don't.
The Fruits of the Spirit song?
I don't
You don't know it?
I don't think so.
I'm not going to sing it.
He has a song that he knows about the fruits of the Spirit. But when you're listing them, I was realizing like these are things to have community, to build. These are the things that helps have a healthy community, helps have a healthy relationships with one another. And you're talking about, when we're talking about practical ways to live like Christ, is that he had all those fruits. Like these are things that he was able to have. And so we have to nurture the seed so that these fruits are produced in us. I was talking to my son last night, and after I got the call, I was like, I've been praying, not for patience. I gave that up when I had kids. Don't ask for that. But I realized that all the things that we need is we get processed through. Like these aren't things that God just sprinkles on you. These are things you have to be, he puts you in circumstances where you have to choose the thing that will produce the fruit. So you have to be intentional and you have to be self-aware. So when you come up to some kind of challenging situation, like for me, I have a lot of women community. So when there's any kind of conflict or people want to talk about someone, the way that fruit is developed is how you choose to respond in that moment. And normally I choose to respond well after the situation's over. I'm like, I should have.
Yeah.
This is when I should have. I could have. I didn't. I would have. But yeah, so instead of doing it in my, we're new creations in Christ, right? So that thing that I normally would do to be funny probably needs to be checked against, like, is this a fruit? Is this something that Christ would do? And does this make me somebody that people are interested in asking, how come you're so different? Or is it just, my normal thing? And I just realized, I was just thinking that last night, like, God develops those things in you by the choices you make in the situation, not abracadabbering it. I'm like, dang it, I just... Why do I have to do stuff for it?
It takes the intentionality to tend to the fruits in all these situations. I wrote down a few examples, like when you're stuck in traffic, how can you show patience? That's one that I try to work on a lot.
It's really hard.
That's hard.
Yeah.
And we don't even live in a big city. We're like stuck in traffic in Panama City, like not Miami, not New York, not California. Yeah.
It made me think the other day, we were stuck in traffic. We were in a parking lot, stopped trying to get out, and everyone just kept stopping right in front of us, so we just had to sit there even longer. And I just kept thinking, like, why do people have to do this? It would be so much easier to love people if they were just nice to me.
That's so true. If you're nice to me, then I can give you the love.
Yeah, that's where it takes, we don't always get the rewards of the fruits when we're working towards them,
No.
But
they're like, you're going to earn this today. I'm going to stop here in front of you. You're not coming out. And let's see how you love me now.
Yeah.
Do you love me now? Yeah.
I think, eventually we do. And it's not always immediate, though. It takes time to see the fruits, you know. When you're in a disagreement, how can you show peace and kindness? When I'm doing mundane tasks like folding laundry, how can I find faithfulness and joy in this?
Again. Folding laundry. Again.
Yeah. And again. And again.
Yeah.
So that's what I had.
What was the second one you said? Oh, in a disagreement. In a disagreement, a practical thing that I didn't know. I feel like I just learned about this, and this is so dumb that this is like, new knowledge is you don't have to address it right away. Like, you can say, I want to talk about this, but I need to take like 20 minutes and we can come back to it, instead of like, we're going to get into it right now, where you're both heightened. Like, there's no letting yourself have that calming down period and then coming back to the discussion. And I know some people are like, I have to engage in it right away, and some people are like, I need 3 days off before. But finding like that compromise and coming to a place where you both feel settled before you try to address something. Before it was like, oh no, because I'm gonna win. So that was my strategy for disagreements. Like, how do I win this argument? Not how do we come together? Not how do we resolve the conflict? It's like, how do I come out on top? And that is definitely not like a fruit of the Spirit, is it?
No.
Oh, it should. No.
winning arguments, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and winning arguments.
Yeah, I knew there was one missing. I knew there was one missing.
No.
I think you touched on something on the last thing you said about the mundane task. Is a practical way to be Christ-like is gratitude. Because you have that mundane task because you have something. You have clothes. You have a baby that are in these clothes. You have a job that you need these clothes for. Like, these mundane task of folding these clothes is because of something you have. And so instead of looking at it as, mine, just aggravating. I don't fold mine. They're just like all in a basket and I just pull them out. But if I was a folder and I put them somewhere, it's to they are just reminders of what you have. And that can lead you to gratitude. So yeah, even the mundane things are.
Yeah. I think for me, Christianity is like 99% mundane. And, there are these moments where things are like big and whatever, but like living out Christianity is pretty mundane.
Yeah.
It's like giving up your seat for somebody on the bus, or it's just whatever
Everyday stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot of boring stuff, but like we've talked about, God works slow, and in these little things, God works those, and He uses those little things to move mountains.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's like when you go to the I don't know why I try to use gyms or sports stuff, because I don't do any of those. But when you go to the gym, that muscle building, they say, from what I've heard, it's over time. Like, you don't go in and have that muscle pop up, on your first visit, and you're not able to lift double your weight the first time you go. That's something you build up to. And I wonder how overwhelming it would be if God worked quicker. Like, it's already hard to do it.
Oh yeah.
On a day-to-day, little by little thing. It's like you're already overwhelmed when you have two things, two new things that you're trying to accomplish, let alone like God saying, okay, here's your moment. This is the moment you have to get this thing. I mean, I don't know what would we do if we had to have that expectation that we should be leaping tall buildings in a single bound in our practices with Christ. Thank God that is little by little, and that we have multiple opportunities to do it.
Right. And what just popped in my head while you were saying that, God is the fruits of the Spirit. So He has patience for us. That's what you were talking about. God has patience for us. All these, the fruits, they apply to God and how He views us.
Right.
So if we're unsure how God views us, that's a good one to look at. Or how God would interact with us.
Right.
Essentially, I think.
I like the version where patience is called long suffering. I just giggle at it because I'm like, thank goodness you're long suffering, because I'm just one person that you're dealing with, and you have all the people that you're dealing with. And that would take a lot of long suffering, because we're stubborn and we're attached to our the things that we like and the things that God is asking us to give up. We are attached to those things. And so God's long suffering and waiting for us to conquer them, to actually submit them to Him, basically. It's not like I think it's funny because all the things God requires of us are things He empowers us to do. It's not like we are on our own trying to do it in our own strength ever, in our own effort. We do step up, we do something, but God is like, okay, this is what I want you to do. I'm going to give you the power to do it. I'm going to meet you in that need. So it's not like He sends us off in the corner if we can't do it. He's like, I'm right here with you. I'll lift you up. I'll give you another opportunity. Like, I'll give you more revelation. He just keeps giving it to us until we are able to do it. And I love that about the goodness of God is that we're not being tested to failure, right? We're just the tests are to give us more awareness of where we need Him more.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So to bring it back to the beginning, when we're talking about like the difference between like rules and stuff, all these things are like, I guess, attitudes or like ways we can live out, or trying to think of words. They're not like rules. They're not like things we do. They are ways that we hold ourselves in what we do. So practical ways of living this out aren't like do this, this, and this.
Right.
It's go about what you're doing in this way, essentially.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I would say when I was thinking about it, it's like it's coming from from your identity. This is this is who I am as a person. I'm long suffering. I'm kind. I'm good. I'm giving. Because it comes from our identity in Christ. If we're Christ-like, then when we are grafted in, we produce the kind of fruit that he produced. And so it comes from our identity. But that means we have to know who we are in Christ, and we have to know who Christ is. Because if we don't have that relationship, we don't know his character. If we don't have that identity, then we can still be operating out of who we were before we knew Christ. So it's really always comes back to your relationship with God. How everything comes back to how you identify yourself in your relationship with God. So I think, it's part of, it kind of feels like mindset, but also like the personality of a Christian is this. Like, these are the things Christians have in common, are those fruits of the Spirit, and love being the main one. And then we show it in different ways depending on who we are, our gifts and our talents. It can come out differently, but it's still love, or it's still peace, or it's still whatever. And that comes from our identity with Christ.
So how do you live out your life as a Christian, Lawana?
Oh my Lord. Nate always tries to throw me on the bus. I was like, what would I say? So I guess like I'm trying to be more not self-aware in a ego kind of way, but aware of where I'm not in alignment with Christ's, how Christ shows up, and what practical things. So one of the things that I used to think was okay was not coming to church, like not being part of a body, like, of course, having some church hurt, and just in a space in life, a season in life where it was like, oh, that's not that big a deal, and so not coming to church. I get that when people find themselves in that situation, but it's not that you're coming to church to check it off, but it's supposed to be like the people who support you the most, who know you, who can come alongside you in whatever you're going through, and you can come alongside them. So it's a part of a body. So you want to come to church because it gives you that connection to other people who are in Christ, but also it helps you, learn more about him. And it's also like a sacrifice of time. Like, yeah, I would rather maybe sometimes be at the beach, or maybe, there's always something you could choose to do. So that's kind of like a little bit of a sacrifice sometimes to come to church and be a part of a bigger thing. So that's one of the things I do. I don't let myself isolate because I'm like, I like to be alone. I could watch it on TV, So I do come, and when I get here, I like that. Like, I'm part of something. I like to hear the worship. I like to talk to people. So yeah.
I definitely I like to be alone, and I think that's something that God that revealed to me is the importance of community, and how much that changed my life once I became more involved into the community. Yeah.
It was like you were saying earlier about the gym. It's like if you don't continue to go, those muscles get weak again, and so you have to keep coming back to build up those muscles.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think it's definitely a process. To be a Christian is to live through the process of Christ, I guess.
Yeah. Like we're at a meat processing plant. It's like, let's snip this off, add a little bit of this, turn them around a little bit. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah. That's one of the practical ways. What's another one? One of the things I like to do is support the local community. So, and I think I wanted to make sure to say this. These things are different in different seasons of your life. When I had homeschooling 4 little kids, I wasn't like, trying to be out and supporting things. But now that I'm in this season, so one of the things I try to be aware of is like needs in local organizations that are supporting the community. So like the Pregnancy Resource Center, or the missions, or, whatever we have in our local community that might need some type of support.
Right. That's the caring for the orphans and the widows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we did last year was we just got some clothing for women and children for one of the local places, I think it was the Salvation Army, for their domestic abuse shelter. And I'm not saying that I mean, I'm just saying that when you become aware that there's a need, stepping in any kind of way that you can, and not diminishing the power of prayer. Like, it's not like you have to volunteer, you have to give something physical, but taking a moment just to pray for those people in that organization is also serving. So yeah, so that's something that I've tried to do practically in this season of my life, is be aware of the needs in the community.
Yeah. I was recently talking about like tithing and finances and things like that. Give what you can where you can.
Yeah.
I think is an important rule. Not like, don't go out like just giving everything you have,
Right.
and wearing yourself thin and all that. Give what you're able to in these situations. Yeah.
I think, in some seasons you have an abundance to give, and in some seasons
Right.
you don't. And so you have to give yourself grace for that. Like, don't set a rule that you can't maintain. Or if you set the rule and you can't maintain it, don't judge yourself for it.
Right. You're not going to be able to give the same amount all the time.
All the
like
time.
Sometimes you'll be able to do more. And sometimes you won't be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's important to pay attention to those things and give what you can where you can. I think probably the biggest practical thing you can do is read your Bible and pray to God. That's what came to my mind when I was thinking about practical ways to live out Christianity. And then, like you said, community.
Yeah.
Community's very important, and taking care of people. And as Rob would say, see to the flourishing of life.
Yeah.
So,
what do you think about, there's a lot of like Bible reading plans. There's a lot of like communities apps. There's a lot of things that support helping you be in the Word, if it's just not something that comes easily to you to do. And I will say, like, some seasons it feels like food. Like, it's like I have to do it. Like, it's as imperative to me as eating dinner tonight is I have to read. Like, some seasons it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go to sleep with it. And then some seasons it's like a chore, but it is like, oh, I'm not super excited about it, but I know I need to do it. Like you were saying, Tyler, like I have to exercise this muscle on a regular basis. And so sometimes, you're not reading it daily, but you're in it regularly. And I just don't want to, I don't want to have you thinking that there's like a certain way you have to do it. But you
Right.
have to do it. And not just because you're checking it off a list, but it is literally the nourishment your spirit needs to stay connected to God. Is like, how can you be practical about living the life of Jesus if you don't know Jesus? And how can you have that supernatural ability to love people who cut you off in traffic, or who post nasty things about you on Facebook, or who are talking about you behind your back, if you're not attached to love? And to be attached to love is to know love, and to know love is to be in the Word. So yeah, it's necessary, and sometimes it's super exciting, and sometimes it's like,
Yeah.
and all those times are okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the giving what you can where you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, one of the biggest things about doing this is getting together like this and having conversations about the Bible, and just like trying to seek Christ through these conversations. I think that's something that we're called to do, is just to get together and talk about this and discover it and explore it. So,
Yeah.
Tyler, what are some practical ways you live out Christianity?
I think just, what you guys are saying about like seeking out other Christians and having community with other people and learning what you can, and knowing that it's, it's okay to ask questions, and it's okay not to agree with everyone.
Yeah.
And to,
Right.
I also think a practical way that a lot of people have trouble with is asking for help, letting people know that you have a need. I have a group of women that meet up every week, and they're older, And I asked a couple weeks ago, I was like, how many of you would help someone if you could? And everybody raised their hands, like 12 women. Okay. How many of you would ask for help? It's like crickets. Like people don't, like they're just sitting there. And it's like the way the Lord works is through people. Like I wish there was a money tree that grew in my backyard, but he doesn't work like that normally. I'm not saying you can't. I just wanted you to know. I mean, I'm ready for it if that's what you want to do. But normally God works through people. And how can he do that if you're not willing to receive or even ask for help? In the early church in Acts, they were like selling everything and serving each other and giving where they could. And I really want us to kind of start mimicking that a little bit more. I think the reason you don't ask, what do you think the reason is that people won't ask or tell that they need help? Is it shame?
I think because we feel like we need to handle it on our own, maybe.
Yeah.
Like feel like we're capable, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feeling like I shouldn't have to ask for help because I should be able to handle this on my own.
I
Right.
should be able to do it. So last week, or I think we talked about self-reliance, like one of the biggest idols
Yeah.
in our lives is us, how we think we should have all the control and the power and abilities to do everything.
Right.
And I feel like we can move into that idolization when we aren't open about our struggles, because when you guys are talking about community, that's part of it. Is when you see when somebody else admits something is hard in their life, it gives you permission to say, I have a hard thing too, and I haven't been able to do it by myself. But when everybody's pretending like they have it all under control, then there's no space for grace. Why would you need grace if everybody can do it, And so when we get into communities together and we're willing to say, you guys both have babies, it's like, we haven't slept in 3 months, and you're like trying to come and lead worship and be all cheerful and like hopeful and joyful. And it's like, I could lay down right on this stage right now and go to sleep. Admitting that doesn't mean you're not faithful or, you're not a strong Christian. It means you're human. And when you can say something and let people really see you, then they can it like gives them permission to show themselves like, okay, I'm not the only one that's trying to handle something that seems impossible. And if this guy can admit it, then I can admit it too. And then we can really be a body that serves one another.
Right. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because I would have forgot about it otherwise. But yeah. Being able to receive, and then also God calls us into rest. Sometimes we have to just sit and wait and rest. Those are seasons in our lives. That's another way to live out our Christianity.
Yeah,
is to rest. We need that. We need to recharge and with the long suffering.
Yeah.
Feeling like I need to do something all the time.
All the time.
And then sometimes God calls us to just sit and be with him.
I think you guys kind of talked about that on the other podcast. I like to call it the other podcast. On the other podcast, I don't know. I kind of remember listening to a conversation about like for men. I think you guys were. It might have been when you were talking about Proverbs 30. I don't know what it was, but one of the things I think we get caught up in is being productive, and I wonder if it's a lot different for men than for women because you guys have that expectation of providing for families. And so rest for men, what does that look like when the expectation is that you are 100 miles per hour in providing?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you even said that, Tyler, when you were talking about when you were working at Pineapple Willie's, how you had that season off.
Yeah.
And you felt like,
Yes.
It felt like I was like, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. I felt guilty because I wasn't going to work. I wasn't,
Yeah.
We were fine. I didn't need to be at work, but I had that feeling of, no, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I can't just sit here and rest and enjoy my time off because I'm supposed to be working.
Right.
Right, yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, you're having the time off and you're guilty about it.
Yeah.
So you're not even enjoying the time off because you can't sit in it. and be resting.
Right.
Now, would you consider the ability to rest a sign to non-believers how different Christians are? Because God's given us that call to rest, then we're not overproductive. We're not running around. We're not chasing all the things all the time. Does that make us look a little bit different? Does that look Christ-like?
Yeah, I think too, like in those moments, in those seasons where we've got nothing going on, it's a great time to, lean into God and yeah, because you got time to
Right.
spend with God, and actually taking that time to spend with God is super important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be a prep season too. Like this might just be a rest for this season because it's prepping you for a more busy season. But we don't know that. It's just so hard to do. It feels like, and here's another thing I think comes along with resting is like, how would you explain this to other people? Like, what would people say if I didn't go to work, or if I just said, oh yeah, I just stay home, and why weren't you at work? I had a friend who said, I saw this guy at the gym, and all I could think was like, how could he be at the gym at this time of day? Shouldn't he be at work? Right? So you're not wrong. I mean, people do have that expectation. People are looking, saying, what are you doing here at 10? Shouldn't you be at work?
Yeah.
We don't have to work all the time.
Right?
I don't want to work all the time.
No.
No.
You need that rest. I mean, God clearly says we need to rest, and it helps us appreciate what we do have, and it also shows us that God is sustaining what we have, because we're overworking is like, I'm doing it, I'm creating this, I am the reason we have this, and it's like, oh, I can provide that for you, and you don't even you don't have to leave the house. It's not you. And so it kind of can help separate you from that idea that you are the source of everything, because you're not.
Yeah. I've been thinking a lot about in the Lord's Prayer, give us this day our daily bread.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a daily thing. That's on a daily basis. And you're asking God to provide food
Right.
to eat daily. Yeah.
I don't like it. I understand it. Listen, if I was in the wilderness and God was sending out manna, I would be like, where's the shrimp? Why don't we have some seafood in this desert? I don't understand. I definitely could see that I would be complaining. But I think one of the things that feels safe and secure, because that was what happened in that story, was they were trying to gather more manna than they needed for the day, and it went to waste. It got rotten. And that's what it feels safe if we know we have food in the cabinet. Like, we know we have enough for the month. That
Right.
just feels, you're comfortable. That feels safe. And when God's saying, well, you're not going to have it for a week. You're only going to have like today. That feels, it builds dependency on God, but it feels like it's out of your control, which I love control.
Yeah.
And that's what God is asking us to put down when he asks us to rest, right? And when he asks us to,
He's asking us daily to rely on him.
yeah.
To provide for us.
I'm like, what if you get busy? There's so many things going on. I don't want you to have to worry about little old me. Let me I could do it. Let me do it. And
Right.
I'm like, why do you think you're better at it than God, Lawana? Like, I don't know. It's so crazy.
Blake's mentioned a few times how he was like, he would give forgiveness to people around him. And he'd be like, yeah, obviously, that makes sense. Give forgiveness to people around me. And he would never extend that to himself. And then essentially, I forget exactly how he said it, but essentially he was like, God told him, like, do you think you're better than me? Like, you think you're not forgiven? Like you forgive these other people?
Yeah, I think we think we're better than God a lot of times. Like when we're judging someone, so practically realizing like, oh, I'm judging right now because I'm not judging. I'm just trying to figure out why they would do something stupid like that. Like, what do you mean? Is that a judgment? I'm just saying, But one time I was judging and God said, you cannot offer redemption. So how can you be in judgment? You have no power to change this person. And I was like, oh, I guess I don't have the power for either of those things, right? And who wants that, right? You don't really want it.
Right.
And then, of course, that verse is like, for which you judge, you're judged by the way you judge somebody. Oh, never mind. Let me take my hand off of this. But yeah, I think love is the most practical. It's the most practical way to walk like Christ. And then all this other stuff comes out of it.
Yeah.
How we treat people, how we see people, how we talk to people. And also, I will add this, what we're listening to and reading, what's coming in is also something we need to be conscious of,
Right.
because it impacts the way we think and how we feel about things. I mean, it feels like we can be so easily swayed. Like, just hear something 10 times and we're like, yep, that's the truth. Like, it just, you know.
Yeah, the fruits that you're tending to are the fruits that are going to produce.
Yeah.
So if you're, producing selfishness and tending to all that, that's what's going to happen. But if you're tending to the fruits of the Spirit, then those fruits will produce. Real quick on judgment, when you mentioned that, I was thinking about judgment and how our idea of judgment is so much different than God's judgment. God's judgment is a lot different than what our expectations of judgment are. That's it.
That's probably why we're not called a judge. It's like, where is that? And where is that? I want you to judge, I think about the fact that Old Testament.
And then, sorry.
No, go ahead.
And then, like, God, his judgment and his love is so unfair.
It isn't fair.
It is so unfair. Like, we want fairness.
Yes.
Like, if you wrong me, you need to be judged for that. God is like, if you wrong me, I'm here for you. Keep coming back. That's not fair. That is so unfair.
That is so funny because it's so true. And we don't want just equal judgment. We want the hammer down, right? Like, but when we do it, we don't want judgment. We want grace. It's like, oh Lord, please forgive me. But when somebody else does it, it's like they need to pay. I think about the Old Testament. It used to freak me out all the time. Tell me when we need to get off. But because when you read it, God seems so judgy. Like, I mean, hard. I mean, really. And I was like, recently, probably in the last couple of years, it's like the whole story. God is saying these are the ways you can be in relationship with me. These are my boundaries, as we would say now, right? You in relationship with me, these are my requirements. And if you can't maintain that boundary, if you can't meet those requirements, then these are the consequences of it. But when I was reading it, was like, golly, he just, what is the word? Like, he just decides whenever he wants to do something to somebody. No, it's like, I have warned you for about 400 years. Like, it's not even like they come suddenly. It's like, this is what I set out. I knew, and I corrected you, and I forgave you, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then there's this consequence of it that people are shocked by. It's like, why did God do that? It's like, well, 500 years ago, this is what I said, and you can't. And even in that, he has grace and mercy, even in the judgment.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So.
All right. We can end it there. Is there anything you wanted to add, Lawana?
I think I would add, be in prayer all the time.
Yep.
Pray without ceasing. It's good for you. It helps your mindset. It helps that spiraling thinking, the overthinking, the thinking you have to be perfect, and the thinking you have to be doing something all the time. And it doesn't have to be formal. Just talk to the Lord. He wants to hear from you.
Yep. Tyler, is there anything you want to add?
I don't think so. No, just thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'd say definitely just read the Bible, pray, and then talk about what you're reading.
Yeah, or going through.
Or going through, absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, thank you. We would love for you to be a part of the conversation. If you have anything you would like to add or share, you can leave us a comment or email at egcfpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening.